Hi, this is Emma at Steel&Stitch. Today's lesson is going to be how to make a magic ring, do increases in each stitch to make a circle, and then how to work multiple stitches per stitch to make petal shapes, and then how to work a chain to start to build a square shape. So we're going to need 3 colours of yarn today. I'm using the Debbie Bliss Clio because it gives you that lovely clear definition again and it's nice and elastic. And we're going to start with our first colour. Mine's going to be yellow. And now I'm going to show you how to make a magic ring. You don't have to use a magic ring. You can chain 4 and slip stitch the ends and work around that like you would with an ordinary granny square. But this is a really useful thing to know how to do. So we're going to start by holding that yarn there over the top of our fingers. So we've got our short tail at the front. I'm using my thumb to hold him in place. I'm going to bring this yarn around the back. I'm going to cross it over. So I've got a cross at the front there. I'm going to just hold that in place with my thumb and forefinger, come around to the other side of my fingers, and I'm going to hold that in place there with my ring finger. I'm going to get my hook. I'm going to bring my hook underneath both, grab the back one and pull it through to the front. Now I'm going to take those off my fingers, keeping everything together with my thumb and forefinger there. And then I'm just going to yarn over my hook, being in control of this all the time, keeping this ring in control with my thumb. And I'm going to pull that through there and I'm going to chain 2, all the while keeping that in place. Now what we're going to do is we're going to work our stitches around this yarn here. And this is our ring, and it's called a magic ring because you can make it any size you like and you can close it up so it's got no holes at the end. And we're going to do 8 stitches. So I'm just going to come under there, grab that yarn and pull it through. I should say this is a double crochet stitches in UK and treble in US. No, other way around. Hang on. Double in UK and single in US. Sorry, this is what you get for teaching English and American ways. Right, so we're going to work those stitches around that ring. So he's coming under there. I'm going to grab it and put it up and through. Yarn over and pull through. So this is just like doing a crochet stitch around anything. You just happen to be doing it around this ring here. And because we're counting our chain 2 at the beginning as a stitch, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm going to do another 3. 1, 2, 3. So what you'll see is it's starting to go in a straight line almost, or it's starting to twist a little bit. So what we're going to do now is I'm just going to unravel this chap from here, and I'm going to bring him underneath there as well. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, but at the moment it's a long straight line. I mean, as we want that circle, what we're going to do is we're going to just hold this here, and I'm going to pull this short tail, and you'll see what it's going to do is it's going to start bringing that around into a nice circle shape for us. See, like this. So now what I'm going to do is what I would if I were doing a chain. I would just going to slip stitch into that first chain 2 we did, just there. And now it's all joined up. You can tighten it even more if you want to. Until you fasten those ends in, that's going to loosen its way up a little bit, but that's not the end of the world. So now to make that centre of that flower, we need to work 2 stitches into each crochet stitch. So we're going to do our chain 2 as our first stitch. I'm going to start by I work into this slip stitch. There's 2 ways of doing it. You can either start there and finish here, or start here and finish there, but I'm going to show you this way. So I'm going to put my hook through that same chain, and I'm going to work my first double in there. And now we're going to work 2 stitches in every crochet. So here's our next stitch. I'm going to put my hook under both of those, yarn over, pull through, yarn over and finish 1 stitch, and then I'm going to go into that same stitch space, grab that yarn and put it through, work my 2 crochet. So now I'm going to do the same in the next stitch here. I'm going to pop that under those 2, grab my yarn and put it through, yarn over and put it through, and then in the same space, like that. you'll see that's starting to open itself up again. It doesn't matter, we're going to tighten that at the end. So now let's just go and put 2 stitches in every crochet space along. So let's get a bit more yarn. And what the point of this is, when you start with 8, if you do 2 in each stitch, you're going to end with 16 stitches. And to make our flower, that's what we need. I'm going to make an 8-petaled flower, but the pattern requires 2 stitches per petal, and you'll see what I mean in a minute. So the thing to do is to keep counting as you go. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. We've worked our 16 stitches. We can take that tail and just tighten that up a bit again. Draw that circle in. And then we're going to pop our hook through here. And now we're going to change our yarns over before we change colour. So I'm going to get my little scissors. Snip that in there. Bring in my next colour, which is here. And then I'm going to pop him over that end there. And holding tight to both my tails at the back there so I don't lose everything, I'm going to bring that through both of those. So I've finished my slip stitch in my new colour. And I'm only going to chain 1 because I want him to be a slip stitch. So to work our petal pattern, we're going to do 3 stitches in the next stitch here and a slip stitch in the second one. So into this first stitch, we're going to pull through and we're going to do 1 double. We're going to yarn over, we're going to do a treble, and then in the same stitch again, we're going to do another double. If you're using American, that would be a single, a double, a single. And now, in the next stitch along, just here, I'm going to pop our hook through and we are just going to do a slip stitch. So that's pull it through, pull it through. So we're going to repeat that all the way around to the end. So in the next stitch along, we're going to do a double, a treble, and then another double, all in the same stitch. And then we're going to slip stitch in the next one, so that's yarn over, pull through everything. Okay, next one, and again, all in the same stitch. Double, treble, double. Oh, I just got my yarn in a tangle. Hold on. And then a slip stitch. And you see what this is starting to do? It's starting to make that little petally shape for us. So we're going to do another one. And you can do this. This will be what's called a pattern with a repeat of 2 stitches. So as long as whatever your circle size is divisible by 2, you'll be able to work this little petal pattern into it. So you can make a 4-petal flower by having 8 to start with. You can go on infinitely, but it becomes slightly cumbersome after a while, so this is quite a sensible size. You see with each one, I'm working into the same stitch to make that petal shape. We're nearly round. That's the other thing about crochet, there's a lot more maths than you would ever anticipate. For someone, I enjoyed maths at school, but it wasn't my strongest subject. And actually I spend more time doing maths now than I do anything else. When you work out how to write a pattern, there's so many more sums than you would ever expect. Okay, so we're on our last one. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 petals. You're back to that start now, so what you want to do is slip stitch around the same one that you did your first slip stitch in, just there. And you can tug that middle just to close him up. Now what we want to do, if you're happy to just make a flower, you can leave it like that. Because we're going to turn ours into a granny square, what we now need to do is start to build this square shape to work around. So what I'm going to do, and you'll just about see it here, is I'm actually going to slip stitch to the middle point of that petal so we can start building that shape. And to do that, it's quite common, you'll find this in quite a lot of patterns, having to work your way up to a point where you don't want to see any of the stitches. So all we do is in that first pink stitch, so we're going to yarn over and we're just going to do a slip stitch in it. So it's moved us along one and we haven't worked a stitch technically. We're going to do the same up to the middle. We're going to get in there, we're going to slip stitch like that. So now we're ready to start our next part of our pattern from the point of the petal. And what I want to do is to be able to get across to this one. So I'm going to do a chain 6, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And now, to make a square shape, I need one side to be a bit bigger to make a corner. So I'm going to do a treble in the middle stitch of the next petal. So you can either say skip 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or skip 4 rather, 1, 2, 3, I'm totally lying, skip 3, 1, 2, 3, treble into next stitch. Just like that. So now I'm going to chain 6, 4, 5, 6, skip 1, 2, 3, and I'm going to slip stitch into that central stitch of the next petal along. So I'm just going to put my hook underneath, yarn over, and pull through those two. I'm going to repeat that again. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. What you won't know is I'm actually doing this in my son's bedroom, and right next to me is a gumball machine and my yarn's just got caught around it. So, and I'm going to skip 3, 1, 2, 3, and I'm going to do a treble in that centre stitch of the next petal. Like that. Now I'm going to chain 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm going to skip 3, 1, 2, 3, and I'm going to slip stitch into the next point of the next petal. And what we're doing here is a bit like when you make a granny square, you're starting to make a square shape. So those longer doubles are starting to make those corners, and those shorter chains where you're just slip stitching are starting to make the flat side. So we've got to do the same again. This end up, we need to build this into a square shape as well. So I'm going to do another chain 6. And I'm going to slip stitch into the top of this one. No, that was supposed to be a double. I'm going to do another chain, I'm going to do a treble rather. Bring that over, do a treble. And again, and a slip stitch. And again. And my last double, treble rather, because I'm making that corner. Now I'm going to do my very last bit to join up that square, so I'm going to do a last chain 6. And I'm just going to slip stitch around that very first one that we started with. And actually what I'm going to do is just pull that up and fasten it off, because when I do my orange row I can join them wherever I like. I'm not going to show you that one because it'll make this really, really long, and that row is really simple because all you need to do is join on and then do 5 trebles around each chain space, 3 chain in the corner. And that is how you make a magic ring and work multiple stitches in the same space.